So you can broadly classify loads as being resistive in nature, being inductive in nature, and being capacitive in nature. Okay. So resistive loads, the simplest example that we can think of is a light bulb or the filament light bulb, where you have I square R going on. Okay. We can have electric heaters where you have I square R going on. And in the case of our resistive loads, our voltage profile and the current profile always stays in sync. Okay. So our Ohm's law, V is equal to IR, the current is simply going to be equal to a scaled down or a scaled up version of my voltage. What that basically means is that if I hook up an oscilloscope, I start measuring the voltage and I start measuring the current is either going to be a miniaturized version of my voltage. So in this case, the value of resistance is greater than 1 ohm, so it's scaling down because the denominator is a smaller value. Okay. Or if the resistance is a small value like 0 point something, my current will basically then be larger than my voltage, right? But and this would be a supersized version of my voltage. But the important thing to note in the case of our resistor is that it does not result in any type of phase shifting between our voltage and current. The voltage and the current remains in phase. Okay, so that is an important thing. Then we have the two other type of loads. We have inductor and we have capacitor. So if you want to think of inductors, think of transformers and think of motors. Inductors cause the current to lag behind the voltage. Okay. So now same scenario. I already have this sketched over here, so I don't need to redraw this and I don't have a lot of space to draw. So if my voltage profile on the oscilloscope is starting, my current will also start. So let us assume that the impedance of the inductor is equal to 1 ohm, right? So ZL is equal to J omega L. Let us say the magnitude of these guys is equal to 1 ohm. So we are neither scaling the current up or scaling the current down using this formula, which can also be represented as V is equal to IZ. In the case of inductor, this becomes ZL, and ZL is equal to J omega L. The magnitude would just be omega L. I've got this small request for you. 77% of you watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. That's a massive number. If this video is helping you out in any shape, way, or form, please do me a quick favor. Please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. That way you will not miss out on any content that we've got planned, and it really supports the channel. So the impedance is not scaling the voltage up or the voltage down. So the magnitude of current is identical to that of the voltage over here. But what ends up happening is that as soon as the voltage is applied, for the current to start flowing, it will take time. In other words, the current is actually lagging the voltage. Okay, this concept can be further drilled into the transient analysis, which I go through in a lot of detail in my electrical coursework, in my P-Power coursework, right? The RL transient analysis. Let me see how much space I have on the next slide. So I have some white space over here. So I'm just continuing the previous discussion, and I'll take just a moment over here. So what ends up happening is that if I have a DC source, if I have a switch, I have a resistor, I have an inductor. Okay. If you want to understand why there is a lag, the moment I close the switch, right? In theory, an inductor is actually a short wire, right? We basically have a copper wire that is twisted, 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 twisted in order to force the current to circulate. And based on our Maxwell's equations, when we have a circulating current, it actually results in a magnetic field. So what really happens over here is that if I actually stretch out this wire and make it straight, and let's say the value of this resistor is 0, I'll have infinite amount of current. Or even if the value of this resistor is not 0, if I keep a resistor in and I straighten out this inductor into a straight wire, there won't be any formation of magnetic field. And what that basically means is that the impedance of this inductor is going to be 0. Are you following me? Because at the end of the day, inductor is nothing but a coil of a shorted wire, right? The wire itself ideally would not have any type of resistance because the impedance of an inductor is simply j omega L, right? Impedance in general is R plus, let's say, j omega L or 1 over j omega C. A pure inductor will not have this R component, okay? So if I actually straighten out this wire, it's just going to be a short. So where I'm going with this is that once the switch is closed, the behavior of an inductor is that it does not allow a sudden change in current because it has to set up a magnetic field. Does it make sense? So if you're going on let's say into a water park, right? And you have that spiraling type of downward spiral. So your speed really slows down, right? The more turns you have, okay? So what it basically means is that it is impeding the flow. So the inductor does not like a sudden change in current. So coming back to this, when I apply a voltage and the voltage is increasing and trying to force the current to increase, the current will slow down. It will take a little bit time, and that's what basically results in this. Okay. In the transient analysis, once the magnetic field is set up, the inductor becomes silent. It becomes a short. Okay, the entire voltage drop is going to be across the resistor. So this is sort of level 3 understanding as to why the delay happens. The delay happens because in the inductor, we have a magnetic field that is being created, that is being established. And until this magnetic field gets established, the inductor is going to offer an impedance and resist the current to basically flow through it. So that's the reason for this delay. I'm not sure if you guys have previously thought about it like this, but this is what I like to call as level 3 understanding in my FE electrical program and in my P power program. And once you start understanding every concept using level 3 understanding, you basically become bulletproof. Whether a question is asked numerically, conceptually, theoretically, you'll be able to tackle it. Okay. Now, the other load that we have, and all the transformers, all the motors are inductive in nature. Okay, and that can take us into the equivalent circuit of induction motor, synchronous generator, transformers, auto transformers. But take my word for it, they have a lot of inductors in them. And the X over R ratio, as we call it, is very high for these devices. They are overall inductive in nature. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. On a weekly basis, I'm creating content for FE electrical and P power exam preparation. I also discuss topics related to electrical engineering with a focus on power systems engineering. If you'd like to learn more about my FE electrical and P power exam preparation programs, please visit my website, studyforfe.com.